Hi everyone, this is Helen and welcome to Modern Pepper. So today we will be making a classic Korean summer dish called BiBim NaengMyeon. Naengmyeon is a cold noodle dish. It could be enjoyed non-spicy with beef broth, or it could be enjoyed with spicy GoChuJang sauce. And today we will be making the spicy version. Before we get started, we have to talk about the noodles for our naengmyeon. When you go to a Korean grocery store, you will see at least a dozen different kinds of naengmyeon noodles. Naengmyeon is a popular summer dish that there are so many different varieties when it comes to the actual naengmyeon noodles. So there's chick naengmyeon, there's Pyongan naengmyeon, and my favorite is hamung naengmyeon. In hamung naengmyeon, they make the noodles a bit more chewy than the other kinds of naengmyeon noodles. So my favorite is the hamung naengmyeon noodles for its extra chewy taste. And in Korean, it's called that 쫄깃쫄깃한 맛. And that basically in translation means chewy taste. And 물냉면 means water, but it really comes with watery broth that you add to the noodle. And BiBim means to mix. So that's why this is called BiBim NaengMyeon, because you mix the GoChuJang sauce into the noodles. When you go to buy your naengmyeon noodles, you could go to the dried noodle section and buy these dried noodles. And this BiBim NaengMyeon packet comes with this GoChuJang packet. My personal choice is to make it fresh at home because you could control the ingredients that go in there, and it will taste 100 times better than these generic GoChuJang packets. But if you are in a pinch, you could certainly use this. But today I'm going to show you how to make the GoChuJang sauce for our BiBim NaengMyeon. So these are the dried naengmyeon noodles, and it kind of looks like this, okay? And there's no difference in how the noodles are between the BiBim NaengMyeon packet and mulnaengmyeon packet. They're exactly the same. It's just a matter of BiBim NaengMyeon has this GoChuJang sauce packet, and mulnaengmyeon comes with this powder broth packet that you just dissolve in water. So there's really no difference in the actual noodles in itself. Now, if you live close to a Korean market, I would highly suggest that you go to the freezer section where they have frozen naengmyeon noodles. These are fresh naengmyeon noodles that have been frozen and in this like vacuum sealed packet. I prefer to use these. You could buy these mulnaengmyeon with the broth packet that comes like this, or you could buy with the gochujang packet. For me personally, when I buy the frozen naengmyeon noodles, I always buy the mulnaengmyeon packet because the frozen broth that comes with it is really, really good. This is the beef broth. It's called sagol yuksu. It is so good. You're wondering, what is this green packet? So the green packet comes with, it's basically white pickled radish kimchi broth. In Korean, it's called dongchimi yuksu, Korean radish pickled juice, and it's very refreshing. So if you are a vegetarian, this is the option to go for it. Hold on to the end because I'm going to show you how to enjoy your BiBim NaengMyeon with these broth, because it just is so delicious and satisfying, and you just like pick up the bowl and you just slurp it. Oh my God, I'm having a hard time concentrating and talking to you because I'm getting so hungry thinking about it. So let's put this aside and let's get started on making our BiBim NaengMyeon. Now, naengmyeon comes with a different variety of fixings, and typically what you will find is Korean radish muchim. So basically it's thinly sliced Korean radish that's a little bit vinegary in taste, so we're going to make that together today. Korean radish in general is short and fat compared to the Japanese radish. I would highly recommend that you use the Korean radish because it has a sweeter taste and more refreshing taste compared to the Japanese radish. If you don't live near a Korean market, it's really hard to find Korean radish at your non-Korean market. So then what I would do is supplement the Korean radish with Kirby cucumbers. So make sure to please check out my blog for this recipe. The blog will also include a list of all the ingredients in detail, along with the written instructions for this recipe and online links for you to purchase the ingredients, including the naengmyeon noodles, these dried naengmyeon noodles. So make sure to please check out my blog at modernpepper.com for this recipe, and you could also click on the description box below if you're watching this on youtube.com, where I will have a list of all those links as well. So you just need to cut about 2 inches wide, and Korean radish is called mu. You just peel the outer layer off, discard, and then you cut it in half. And then we're gonna slice it really thin. As thin as you can go. I wanna show you how thin I want you to cut it. This thin, sliver. And I want you to taste it too, because it's really delicious. It kind of has this taste of jicama, but it's not as sweet and sugary as jicama, but it has a bit more of a milder and crunchy and refreshing taste. I also chopped these up and added to my salad too. So Korean radish is really, really great raw, but for our naengmyeon today, we're gonna make them pickled. And this is a very quick recipe. And you wanna use about a little bit less than a tablespoon of sea salt. And I'm using this Korean sea salt, and I'll have links for you to purchase this online as well. So make sure to check out my blog at modernpepper.com and also the description box below. And you want to use coarse sea salt, and then just mix it up really well. Make sure each slice is covered in our coarse sea salt. And then you just leave it on your kitchen counter for a good 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll come back to it soon. And look how much water it drained out. The salt pulled out that much of the natural water from our sliced Korean radish. Now we're gonna wash this in cold water at least 3 to 4 times to remove all the excess salt from our sliced radish. So I rinsed it thoroughly 4 times in really, really cold water. You wanna take this and just squeeze out the excess water. Just be gentle, not too aggressive, just gentle. Just squeeze ever so slightly so that we move to just a little bit of that excess water, and then untangle everything and let it hang out. So at this point, I want you to take one and taste it, okay? It has that slight salty taste, but it's still very, very refreshing. And you will always find a few slices of the pickled radish when you have naengmyeon, whether it's naengmyun or 비빔냉면, because it just gives you that bite of refreshing and slightly salty taste as you sort of slurp your noodles. Now we're gonna add a tablespoon of brown rice vinegar. In our last week's naengmyeon video, when we made the sliced pickled radish, I added a significant amount of Korean red pepper flakes because that would balance out the sort of the broth taste of the naengmyeon. But since we're making this for a 비빔냉면 that's already spicy, you don't have to add the Korean red pepper flakes. What I like to do instead is just add a dash like that. And I just like to add a dash just to create that little bit of that red color, and just mix it really well using my disposable kitchen gloves, because for me, I really prefer not to touch anything acidic with my hands. And after you make this, you could serve it right away or keep it in your refrigerator for a couple hours too before you serve. So you can make this the day before or a few hours before you consume your 비빔냉면. Now, as you already may know, I rarely use sugar to make my food. If you prefer to have a slightly sweeter pickle taste, I personally don't, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't either. So if you want to, you could add a teaspoon of sugar and mix it well, and it will just give you a little bit of that sweeter aftertaste if you prefer that. Now, please make sure to visit my blog for this recipe at modernpepper.com, where I will have a list of all the ingredients, written recipe instructions, and links to purchase the ingredients used in this recipe, as well as suggested kitchen gadgets. Now, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel by clicking on that pink button that says subscribe right here in the corner. Click on that so that we could connect once a week and cook Korean food together, because Thursday is the day that I upload new videos. And in addition to making classic Korean dishes, I also like to make some cocktails, because yes, I'm a mom of 3, and sometimes mommy needs some mommy juice just to survive parenthood. Isn't parenthood so lovely? Anyway, and also I would love to hear from you, so please make sure to comment and let me know what you thought. And if you have any recipe requests, please let me know. And I also like to take non-Korean dishes and add a little bit of that Korean twist by using a few Korean ingredients here and there. So make sure to please subscribe to my channel so that we could continue to cook together. And now let's get started on making the rest of our 비빔냉면. Okay, so now we're gonna get started on making our GoChuJang sauce for our 비빔냉면. I highly recommend making this because it is super simple to make, and it will taste, like I said earlier, 100 times better than the little sauce packets that come with your naengmyeon noodles. So we're gonna add a tablespoon of GoChuJang, and GoChuJang, if you've never heard of it before, is a Korean red pepper paste. It comes in a container like this. They have smaller sizes and they have much bigger sizes, and you can find this at any Korean grocery store. And I will also have links for this on my blog, so make sure to check it out. 1 tablespoon of water, half a tablespoon of brown rice vinegar, half a tablespoon of honey. If you've been watching my other videos, I prefer to cook with honey instead of sugar. You know, I just think it tastes better and it's good for you. But if you want to use sugar instead, replace the honey with sugar. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Now, when you make naengmyeon, you always need Korean pear. Korean pear, called bae in Korean, is a summer fruit that is enjoyed by so many Koreans. And when you think of naengmyeon, you always want to have a slice of pear with your naengmyeon, whether you're having it 비빔냉면 style or 물냉면 style. You can usually find Korean pear now in a lot of those produce markets, so you should be able to find it. But if you cannot find it, just use boss pear and just make sure it's nice and crisp. So for our gochujang sauce, we're gonna take a big slice. I prefer to put a tablespoon of Korean pear puree to our gochujang sauce. It just makes the gochujang sauce for our bi빔냉면 taste sweet, but without tasting so sugary. And also it will give you that little bit of that refreshing taste. So just take your Korean pear and just shave it. We just want 1 tablespoon using a fine microplane. And no, this is not hard. It literally will take you less than 10 to 15 seconds to make a tablespoon of Korean pear puree using the microplane. When you use a microplane, you always want to check the back because most of the stuff will get caught in the back of the microplane. So make sure to scrape off the back. 1 tablespoon of pureed Korean pear. And we're going to put half a teaspoon of pureed shallots. So take the tip off. And what I like to do is just score it around the middle of the shallot like so. And then just peel the outer layer off so that you have a very firm grip. So again, using the microplane, we only need half a teaspoon of shallot puree. That took all of like 10 seconds. So again, scrape it off from the back, put it in here, and then half a teaspoon of pureed fresh garlic. Fresh garlic just adds so much flavor. Yes, your fingertips might get a little garlicky smelly, but hey, the food will taste better. So use fresh garlic, and again, scrape it from the back. Half a teaspoon goes in here. And we're gonna add a half a teaspoon of green scallion, just the green part only, just sliced really thin. So we're just gonna mix it well. And that's it, it's pretty simple to make. And I guarantee you this gochujang sauce will taste so much better than the packet that comes with it. Now, when it comes to bi빔냉면, there's always typical fixings that you would find on your bi빔냉면. And one is half of a boiled egg and the fresh pickled radish that we just made. And you need a slice of Korean pear. Just need 1 slice of Korean pear. And if you can't get Korean pear, you can just use boss pear and just peel the skin off and just put this to the side, and we're going to use it later. And you need some freshly cut cucumber. Now, I prefer to use Kirby cucumber. If you can't get Kirby cucumber, my second choice would be to use Persian cucumber. And we just need a few slices. And I'm just removing some of the skin off because the skin could get a little bitter and chewy. So we just cut it in a diagonal way. And I just need about good 2 thick slices, and we're just going to cut them into long strips. Okay, and then put this to the side. You will also find a few slices of beef, and usually it's brisket. And now if you want to learn how to make this, please check out my 물냉면 video from last week, which includes how to make the beef brisket for our bi빔냉면. So we just need about 4 to 6 beef briskets. So you just want to slice it very, very thin. So the outer piece I'm going to put aside, and I'm just going to go in and slice them really thin. So our fixing plate is ready, and now we're gonna cook our noodles. Now, when you cook your Korean noodles, it is absolutely critical that all your fixings and whatever you're gonna include in your 비빔 냉면 is all ready to go. Because especially when you cook the naengmyeon noodles, you wanna be able to cook the noodles, wash it right away in cold water to cool down the temperature, and consume the noodles within the first 5 minutes, because there will be a huge difference in how the noodles taste when you consume it within the first 5 minutes of cooking versus 10 minutes later. 10 minutes later, the noodles won't be as chewy. It will be bloated and kind of very soft. And naengmyeon noodles is best enjoyed when it's chewy, not bloated. So make sure everything that you're gonna put on your naengmyeon is all ready to go. And then the very last thing we're doing is cooking the naengmyeon noodles. If you are using the fresh naengmyeon noodles that you could find at the freezer section, I highly recommend that you untangle and let the noodles kind of breathe and get all free, because if you find any clumps like so, just untangle it. Because the last thing you want to do is put noodles in there that are clumped together, because then it will stick together in the hot water and it'll just become doughy, and that's the last thing you want. So make sure to take your noodles and toss it, and make sure each strand of the noodles has separated from each other, and then it's ready to go into the hot boiling pot of water. So our water is boiling hot. My pot is about 2/3 full, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt just to give it a little bit of that salt bath for our noodles. Heat is still at super high, and then we're just gonna drop our fresh naengmyeon noodles in here, stir it. So it has been about good 2 minutes, and you just wanna make sure, especially with naengmyeon noodles, you have to keep on stirring it, okay? And you'll see where it kind of starts to boil over. Then you lower the heat, and then you turn it right back on once you see the bubbles kind of subside. Okay, so let's have a quick taste. I have a little bit of water here, and I'm just gonna wash it in here quickly and then have a taste. It's ready. It's still chewy, and you noticed how the water kind of bubbled over? That's gonna happen, so you just have to stand over it and keep your eye on it. We're gonna quickly transfer the noodles into this pot of cold water. So we're gonna quickly bring down the temperature of the noodles by running it through cold water. This is actually a better method than putting it in an ice bath and letting it sit there. We just wanna make sure that we also wash out the excess starch. As you will notice, this water is very milky because of the excess starch. I'm gonna take a bunch and just rub it between my fingers quickly. And this is to sort of rub out the excess starch on the noodles, and be gentle. You don't want to squish the noodles. And then we're going to pour this into our strainer and run it again in cold water. And now you just want to shake it like this in your strainer just to remove the excess water. And you want to take your noodles and just kind of bunch up enough in your hand like so, and then just gently squeeze it. So we just finished cooking our naengmyeon noodles. We're gonna dress it up. First, we're gonna take our GoChuJang sauce that we made earlier, and we're gonna pour everything on top like so. Ooh, look how good that looks. Yum. And then we're gonna take our beef slices, and then we're gonna add the pickled radish that we made earlier, just a few slices. And then we're gonna add some of the cucumbers that we cut up. Look how all the colors are coming together so nicely. It smells so good. Okay, get ready to eat this very soon, because I won't be able to wait any longer. Then here is our egg, and here's our Korean pear. We're just gonna kind of let it nestle right on top like so. I mean, look at this. And then just as a garnish, just a little bit of toasted sesame seeds right on top of our egg like that. And then just sprinkle a little bit of the green onions around for garnishing. Look at how pretty this looks. Oh my goodness. How are we gonna eat this? It's so pretty. I'm gulping and I'm drooling because this is going to be so good in my mouth. Anyways, I know we made this beautiful fixing and we kind of built a tower. So what you want to do is just move everything to the side, and then you want to mix the noodles with the rest of the GoChuJang sauce. Oh boy, it smells so good. I mean, if you love spicy food, goodness, you're gonna love this, especially during summer. You could get that combination of that cold noodle taste with the spicy GoChuJang sauce in your mouth. So good. We mixed everything up. You know, when you eat naengmyeon, they always give you a little bit of vinegar and hot mustard on the side. And for 비빔냉면, I wouldn't add any hot mustard because the GoChuJang is already spicy. But some people like it a little bit more vinegary in taste, which I do too. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of vinegar, and this is really up to you. Some people don't like the extra vinegary taste, so don't add it. So for me, I like the extra vinegary taste. So we're just gonna take a bite, put our radish with our cucumber. I'm gulping in my mouth. And just have a bite. It's so, I'm kind of speechless. It's so good. I don't know what to say other than it's so yummy. The spiciness is perfect. It's this creamy and depth of spiciness that you get from GoChuJang is totally different from like sriracha that's really spicy and it just gives you that shock of like, oh my God, that's really spicy. I mean, GoChuJang is the opposite of that in that it is spicy, but it has this like depth and it doesn't shock your mouth with that spiciness, but it keeps on giving you that spiciness taste in your mouth. And then all the fixings of the fresh cucumbers and the pickled radish with the thin slices of beef brisket all in your mouth with the noodles is just so yummy. Now, what I also like to do is after I eat half of this, I take the 물냉면 broth, which is basically half beef broth, or also called 사골 육수, and the other half is 동치미 국물. 동치미 basically is pickled Korean radish. It's not spicy. It is very refreshing to have during summers. And if you want to learn how to make this broth, make sure to watch last week's video on making 물냉면, which includes how to make this broth. Or alternatively, you could go to the freezer section and buy the 물냉면 package that comes with the 사골 육수, which is the beef bone broth, and the 동치미 육수. And so you could buy those and combine these two broths together and put it in here. But I made my own here, and what I like to do is slightly freeze it so you could see a little bit of that slush on top, and that's really ideal. So when you're defrosting these, just defrost 2/3 of the way. Save 1/3 so that it's still slushy. This is the way I like to have it. I eat half of my 비빔냉면 and I add half of this broth, like so. So I like to mix it all up. Oh my God, this is so good. And then you have to taste the broth. It is absolutely a no-no to use a spoon to pick it up and taste it, okay? I mean, you could if you want to. I mean, there's no police watching you. But the ideal way to enjoy naengmyeon broth is to pick it up with 2 hands and then you drink it straight from the bowl. And this is not a pagan act. This is just a traditional way to enjoy naengmyeon broth. This is so good. So 물냉면 broth is good in itself. This is different in that it has that spicy gochujang taste with the 물냉면 broth. It is just so divine. I'm gonna have another bite. It is absolutely okay to slurp when you have naengmyeon. Now, the Korean pear serves as a sweet condiment when you're enjoying naengmyeon. If you take a bite of this, it's sweet, it's crunchy, and it's also offsetting the spicy taste in my mouth with the natural sweet taste from the Korean pear, and then it kind of cools down my mouth so that I could go back and enjoy the rest of the spicy 비빔냉면. I hope you try this at home because this is so delicious and it's really not that difficult to make. And if you enjoyed watching this video, I would greatly appreciate a thumbs up. So make sure to please click on that thumbs up icon below. And I would also love to hear from you. So please leave me any comments or what you thought, or if you have any requests for future recipes, please let me know. And I would just love to connect with you. If you know of anyone that loves Korean food and that wants to learn how to make Korean food, food, please share this video with your family and friends. And lastly, I would love to connect with you again, and I upload new videos every Thursday. So please do subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on that pink little box at the corner right here. Click on that so that we can connect again once a week and make Korean food together, in addition to soju cocktails. And I know soju cocktail is a very popular thing, and I love making soju cocktails that are simple, that just gets the job done when we need a little bit of that, you know, alcohol boost to just kind of take a break from all the meltdowns of life. In addition to making classic Korean dishes, I also love to make non-Korean food with a little bit of that Korean twist by adding a few Korean ingredients here and there. So make sure to subscribe, and also make sure to check out my blog for this recipe at modernpepper.com, where I will have a list of all the ingredients in detail with written instructions for this recipe and online links for you to purchase the ingredients and have it conveniently shipped to your house, including the naengmyeon noodles. And lastly, if you make this, please take a picture, post it on social media, and tag me at modernpepper.com. And I hope you enjoy this. And I have to say goodbye because I have to go and finish the rest of my naengmyeon. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy naengmyeon eating time. Bye now.